New Jeru Blue. I want to come to y'all with a new video based upon end time prophecies out of the Apocalypse of Abraham. This is the Apocalypse of Abraham. We're gonna go to a vision and judgment of salvation. A vision of judgment and salvation. This is like the last part of the Apocalypse of Abraham, but this gives you a little clearer picture of end time prophecy and how the judgment plays out and how the Most High Yah thinks of it. Alright, this is a vision of judgment and salvation. And I looked and saw, lo, the picture swayed, and from it emerged on its left side a heathen people. So a heathen people is basically Gentile nation, a nation that is not the Israelites. And they pillaged those who were on the right side, men and women and children. Some they slaughtered, others they retained with themselves. Lo, I saw them run towards them through 4 entrances, and they burnt the temple with sacrifices involving the slaughter of human beings, such as the offering of through fire of the children of Moloch. And I said, O Eternal One, lo, the people that sprang from me, whom thou hast accepted, the hordes of the heathen do plunder, and some they kill, while others they hold fast as aliens, foreign, something that's different from them. And the temple they have burnt with fire, and the beautiful things therein they do rob and destroy. O Eternal Mighty One, if this be so, wherefore hast thou now lacerated my heart, and why should this be so? And he said to me, Hear, Abraham, what thou hast seen shall happen on account of thy seed, the chosen seed Israel. Remember in Genesis, he said, in Genesis 15, your strangers shall be captives in a foreign land that they know not, where a strange nation will come about them, and they will serve them for 400 years. 1619, 2019. Tribulation started 2017. August 2017, first omen of judgment, the eclipse. The second one, 2017, was in September, the Revelation 12 sign in the constellation. The third one of 2017 was the space rock Oumuamua, which is an angelic biosatellite. Now that we have more knowledge on that fact. And then as we go on into 2021, you know, the first signs of sickness and plague, but we're going to get into that in the Apocalypse of Abraham. Let's break all these events that take place during the Great Tribulation. Hear, Abraham, what thou hast seen shall happen on account of thy seed, who anger me by reason of the statue which thou sawest, and on account of the human slaughter in the picture, through zeal in the temple, as thou sawest, so shall it be. And I said, O Eternal Mighty One, may the works of evil wrought in ungodliness now pass by, but show me rather those who fulfill the commandments, even the works of his righteousness, for thou canst do. And he said to me, the time of righteousness meeteth them first, through the holiness flowing from kings and righteous dealing rulers, whom I at first created in order from such to rule among them, but from these issue men who care for their interests, as I have made known to them, and thou hast seen. So basically, where he basically, when Abraham fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and the angels came to him and took him up into heaven, and he seen these things in the heaven. So this is basically what's going on right now, and this is the vision for the end time of what would happen to his bloodline and his seed, and how they would go through these different captivities, and what would happen at the final captivity. Now it's saying how long. And I answered and said, Almighty, Eternal One. Basically what he's talking about, the eternal God that lives in you, within your temple, that you have to activate and reach your third eye and your pineal gland, and you have to follow his ways, his laws, statutes, and commandments, because that is the law of the universe of cause and effect. And once you follow those things, you become blessed and you become a perfect candidate for him to use you as a vessel. If, as you read in the Zohar, he talks about the vessel being a cup, and him pouring out his light upon the cup, but the cup not being prepared and strong enough that the cup shattered because it was too much light to receive. So back to this. Eternal One, hallowed by thy power, be favorable to my petition. What is a petition? Mean that he's putting in a plea for his future descendants. And because he knows firsthand what they're going to have to go for. For this hast thou brought me up here into the heavens, which is the Shemayim in Hebrew, and show me as thou hast brought me up to thy height. So make this known to me, thy beloved one, as much as I ask whether what I saw shall happen to them for long. So he's basically saying, how long is they going to have to go through this torment? He can't even take it, just knowing that this is already forewritten and it's going to happen one way or the other. And I said, O Eternal Mighty One, and how long a time is an hour of the age? So now, look at this hour of the age. In Revelation, remember he said the whore that sitteth upon many waters, basically got a base on everybody's land. Spiritual Sodom in Egypt. Egypt meaning the house of bondage. Spiritual Sodom means that it's a lot of fornication and mankind laying with mankind, the same sex, basically type things. But back to this, he said, the whore that sitteth upon many waters, every nation got drunk off of her wine. He said he's going to judge that great city, Mystery Babylon, in 1 hour. So this is what this 1 hour is talking about, a swift judgment in the end of an age. After the 7-year tribulation period, he said he was going to cut the time short for the elect's sake. So let's get back into this. He said, O Eternal Mighty One, how long a time is an hour of the age? And he said, 12 years have I ordained of this ungodly age to rule among the heathen in thy seed, and until the end of the times it shall be as thou sawest. And do thou reckon and understand and look into the picture. And I looked and saw a man going out from the left of the heathen. So this is the left side of the picture. This is like a 3D visualization in a hologram that he's seeing in heaven beforehand. And there went out men and women and children from the side of the heathen. So this is the left side. The left side is the judgment side of God. The right side is the righteous side. The left side is a woman's spirit, which is the wrath. It's tetragrammaton, judgment, Mother Nature, the woman spirit that keeps galaxies spinning. A lot of people don't know that the Most High, he has a counterpart, which is a wife, which is a female spirit. That's why he calls the nation of Israel a her. He refers to the earth as a womb, as a her. So back to this, just to give you a little brief kind of understanding for those that don't understand this knowledge and it's kind of far behind. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of insight. And hopefully your spirit resonates. and saw a man going out from the left side of the heathen, and there went out men and women and children from the side of the heathen, many hosts, and worshipped him. And while I still looked, there came out from the right side many, some insulted. So that means that these people been beat down, they've been left at the bottom, they've been assaulted, hurted, mistreated. Because in Revelation, you remember he said, while his people was left at the bottom, impoverished, every nation got drunk off of this wicked nation's wine in Mystery Babylon. And some insulted that man, while some struck him. Others, however, worshiped him. And I saw how they worshiped him. And Azazel, this is the fallen angel, with Satan, this is the legion, the fall, Nephal. Nephilim, they had children, they entered the daughters of men, that wicked energy, the evil inclination that came into the world, which is a spirit, it's an energy that comes upon people. Azazel ran and worshipped him, and having kissed his face, he turned and stood behind him, and said, O eternal mighty one, who is the man insulted? So basically talking about the Messiah, being who is worshipped by the heathen with Azazel. And he answered and said, Hear, Abraham, the man who thou sawest insulting and beaten again in worship, that is the relief granted. So that's salvation. He is salvation by the heathen to the people who proceeded from thee. So he basically talking about Abraham was the father of many nations. So the Ishmael that he had by the Egyptian maidservant, the concubine, Hagar, the Egyptian, and he later had the chosen seed Isaac, the Israelites, by Sarah. So he's basically giving you a breakdown of two nations that came out of Abraham, one wicked and one righteous. And proceed from thee in the last day, in the 12th hour of the age of ungodliness. But in the 12th year solace issue from my people. This one all will follow, and such as are called by me will join, even before the age of righteousness beginneth to grow. My judgment shall come upon the lawless heathen through the people of thy seed. How is he going to do this? Those Israelites that you see standing on the corner, people think they're a hate group or condemning. Guess what? They've been given the ability to decipher the Bible in all the judgment parts that the Christian church won't tell you about, because they tell you about all this peace and prosperity, but the Most High said in the Old Testament, there's a time for peace and it's a time for war. Everything must reset. Every curse must be reversed. So how is he going to do that? Just like he said in Revelation, thee that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Thee that killeth with the sword shall be killed with the sword. So he's repaying wickedness with wickedness. And he said, age of righteousness beginneth to grow. My judgment shall come upon the lawless heathen through the people of thy seed. So basically talking about the Israelites who have been separated from me. So basically they went into captivity. They were scattered upon the four corners of the earth via the transatlantic slave trade. That's why they're called the lost sheep of the house of Israel, because in Psalms 83 said every nation will come against them to strip them from their heritage. But this is what's going to happen in this last part, which you are seeing now today. In those days, I will bring upon all creatures of the earth 10 plagues. Now watch these 10 plagues and how true they are. Through misfortune, disease, and sighting of the grief of their souls. So that means that their souls are going to be damnation. Every knee shall bow, and they're going to come to the real Israelites and say that their fathers have inherited lies. Everything was a lie. Thus much will I bring upon the generation of men that be upon it on account of the provocation of the corruption of its creatures, whereby they provoke me. And then shall righteous men of thy seed be left in the number which is kept secret by me. Hasten in the glory of my name to the place prepared beforehand for them. So this is the gathering of the seed. This ain't talking about everybody. This talking about the elect, the 144,000 scattered abroad that will be activated in the end, that will wage judgment on the wicked by the words of their mouths. That's why he said they use no instrument of war, nor raised any sword in Revelation, but used the words of their mouth. Them two olive trees that lie dead in the streets, spiritually dead. That's why you're going into, what is it, Ezekiel or Daniel, where it talks about the valley of the dry bones coming together, spiritually coming together. The Ena Bakul Ach prayer. Those bones that was activated. And guess what? It added up to the number of Pluto's return. 222, what is it, 248? But guess what? That's the number of the activated bones. Go check out Brother Abdullah Sears' page. He breaks it down a lot. Brother Big Judah's page. He breaks it down a lot. And Brother Levi's page. Big Levi. Those are like the elders of the real Israelites at this point, because God is using them in a magnificent way. My name to the place prepared beforehand them, and sawest, and thou sawest devastated in the picture, and they shall live and be established through sacrifices and gifts of righteousness and truth, and destroy those who have destroyed them. Now this is what he's talking about. Thee that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Thee that killeth with the sword shall be killed with the sword. So now he's repaying wickedness with wickedness, but he's going to find his righteous seed blameless in this time, because this is recompense on their head. Pluto return. The fall of one empire and the rise of another. One system dying and another being reborn. The rebirth of a nation. This is the rebirth of the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That's why he said the first will be last and the last will be first. And shall insult those who have insulted them, and of those who defame them. How would they defame them? Take their name. That's why in Revelation 2:9 he said he know our works, our tribulation and poverty, but we are rich. And he know the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews but are not, but are the synagogues of Satan. They run the news outlet. They own every banking industry. They run the porn industry. And guess what? Jewish means kind of, sort of, a convert. They converted in the 700s. Khazar, Ashkenazi, Poland, Russia, and that's where you get that whole Holocaust thing from. But this is what he's talking about. He said, and of those who defame them, Psalms 83, take crafty counsel against my people, wish to cut them off from being a nation, defame them, they shall spit in the face. They shall spit in the face, scorned by me, while they, the righteous, shall behold me full of joy, rejoicing with my people and receiving those who return to me in repentance. See, Abraham, what thou hast seen, and hear what thou hast heard, and take full knowledge of what thou hast come to know. Go to thy heritage. What is thy heritage? The heritage that will last forever. That's why they said that blacks wouldn't prosper or prevail any longer. But guess what? God remembers his people. That's why they're trying so hard to distract you, so you won't see these blessings and these great wonders that's about to revolve around them that you've been seeing. That's how they've been able to predict things before they even happen. And lo, I am with you forever. Guess what? He might chastise you for a period, hundreds of years or whatever the case may be. But guess what? That's just for trial and error and correction. So you will be right and ready for the righteous time. The punishment of the heathen and the ingathering of Israel. What is the ingathering? He is restoring their knowledge, writing it on their heart, making them remember themselves in the land of their captivity, as it says in Baruch in the Apocrypha, the hidden book that they took out that was in the 1611 Bibles, but it's no longer there. This is what the end gathering means, because he is the internal God. So the end gathering is gathering them together and getting them on one accord and restoring all the ancient knowledge that was taken from them and giving them their heritage back, allowing them to remember themselves so they can have tools to combat against the wicked in all of their lies and all of their whitewashing history. That's what he means. The end gathering. That's why he said he's going to send the angels, the four winds to gather them from the four corners of the earth. But while he was still speaking, I found myself upon the earth. And I said, O eternal, mighty one, I am no longer in the glory in which I was while on high. Because he was up in heaven in the Shemaim. He came out of his body. He was taken to the heaven. He was put into a deep sleep. He had to fast, become weary. And why am I so long to understand in my heart? I do not understand. And he said to me, what is desired in thy heart? I will tell thee. Because thou hast sought to see the 10 plagues which I had prepared for the heathen. The heathen. That's the fatherless nation. He said, I come not only for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Not to go off of this, but I'm trying to tell you, he made the Israelites in power so they can be a light to the Gentiles, so they can come to him. Not to go through church or these other preachers and other nations. The Israelites, the true Israelites. The El Cristo Negroes, the Negroes. Look in the Zondervan Compact Dictionary. It'll tell you exactly who we are and why these things are happening to us. No protest can stop it. But back to this. And he said to me, what is desired in thy heart? And I will tell thee, because thou hast sought to see the 10 plagues which I have prepared for the heathen, and had prepared beforehand at the passing over of the 12th hour of the earth. This is when he's coming to judge. Why do you think he used these hours? He deals with constellations, the stars, the fixed stars, the zodiacs, which they told y'all to never look into, because there's angels that govern those zodiacs in specific times and hours of the day that certain rituals are performed on and the angels are called on, which they would tell you that these things is voodoo, witchcraft, and all this. Guess what? King Solomon was binding up spirit, casting out devils, just like Hamashiach, the Messiah. He cast out devils and the pigs. They was all doing it because they all had these abilities, because they knew the ancient knowledge that was taken away. That's why he said when he leave, he will send a comforter and the Holy Spirit that will guide you and allow you to do the same things that I did, even greater wonders in the end. And hear what I deluge to thee, so it shall come to pass. The first is pain of great distress. So this means that it's going to be pain, sickness, health, all types of things, pain and great distress. The second is fiery congregation of many cities. The third is destruction and pestilence of animals. The fourth, hunger and destruction by earthquakes in the sword. Why do you think it say that? Because in Matthew 24, he said, how will you know the signs of thy second coming? You will hear rumors of wars, nations rising against nations, famines, earthquakes in diverse places. With all these sanctions going on in these countries as they're invading, because guess what? That is Isaiah 34 coming into pass right now. So it has to happen. And he said, you will hear of earthquakes and the sword and the sixth multiplication of hail and snow. Why do you think that the weather is going haywire? That's earthquakes in diverse places, meaning weather in places it doesn't normally happen. That's why you've been seeing an increase in hail and snow, people freezing up on highways, planes falling out the sky. And the seventh, wild beasts will be their graves. The eighth, hunger and pestilence will alternate with their destruction. What means alternate? Those that don't die by the sword will die by the famine. Those that don't die by the famine will die by the COVID-19. And the ninth, punishment by the sword and flight and distress. What do you think you're seeing over there in Ukraine right now? And the 10th, thunder and voices and destructive earthquakes in Tonga, the ring of fire. It's all happening. Y'all see the signs and wonders. He said, and then I will sound the trumpet out of the air, and I will send my elect one, having in him all my power, one measure, and this one shall summon my despised people, the nations. He will summon. Who is he summoning? The bridegroom. That's why he talks about those virgins with them oil sticks. Who was prepared when this Messiah energy came back to the earth? So guess what? He shall summon my despised people from all nations. People that y'all think y'all hate it from the color of y'all skin. It ain't got nothing to do with the color of your skin. It's the E1B1 DNA, the X factor that's going to be unlocked in your gene that gives you ability to go through great distress that's been planted in your DNA through all the atrocities your ancestors went through, that allows you to endure forever and withstand things that other people can't. Because guess what? You are anointed by God, his chosen people. And he said, I will burn fire those who have insulted them. Who insulted them? Who's being insulted right now? The downright trodden, the people in poverty, the people that they say everything is bad about them, everything good is bad. They look for all the wrong, they look for all the bad, and they just continuously push this narrative over and over and over again. And who have ruled among them in this age. So all the people that's oppressed under these people and under this beast system right now, guess what? He's going to flip the system. He's going to press the button on them. And guess what? He's going to reverse these curses as you seeing him at work right now as we speak. He said, and I will give those who have covered me with mockery to scorn. And of the coming age, and I have prepared them to be food for the fire of Hades. What does Hades mean? I just was talking about this on Facebook. Hades is the translation for Pluto. If Pluto returned 2222, 22 is the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Aleph is the first. Ah and the Tha, which means Alpha and Omega. Omega comes, which is Hades. Pluto's return, it brings the energy to the planet to reverse the curses, make people have strong delusions, and make everything fall in line with property. And Hades, and for ceaseless flight to and fro through the air and in the underworld beneath the earth, the body filled with worms. For on them shall they see the righteousness of the Creator, those namely who have chosen to do my will. Because guess what? It's a choice. You can align yourself with the will of God. And guess what? You can fulfill prophecy. Because guess what? A lot of us, it was already on our hearts, and we already had the spirit from the time of our birth. My will, and those who have openly kept my commandments, like a lot of the Israelites are doing in this last part, not eating pork and not trying to substitute and say, oh, I don't eat pork, but I'm gonna eat bottom crawlers and shrimp and lobsters. That's why he said anything that swims in the sea without fins and scales. So that's just a little analogy to show you that. Don't trick your own mind. And they have followed, and they shall rejoice with joy over the downfall of the men who still remain. So why do you think nobody's really mad about what's really happening to the destruction of the Gentiles, the heathen nations right now? Because guess what? They did it to our people for 400 plus years. They will rejoice while the world is in chaos. I guarantee you. So all these people on all these other Israelite channels calling them evil, wicked, and devils, heartless, and everything under the sun. But the Most High said, they will rejoice at the downfall of the men who still remain, who have followed the idols in their murders, for they shall purify in the body of the evil worm Azazel, the fallen angel, the spirit of the wicked and evil inclination, as the Zohar states, and be burnt with fire of Azazel's tongue. For I have hoped that they would come to me and not have loved and praise the strange God. Who is the strange God? You know why? Because B'nai Elohim means sons of God. That's why he say in the scripture, he say, you are all gods, because they are gods, because they keep an ordinance. They are a particle. He uses them to activate certain things. He said, and not have adhered to him, for whom they were not eluded, but instead they have forsaken the mighty Lord. Now to the end, therefore, hear, O Abraham, and see, lo, the seventh generation shall go with thee, and they shall go out into a strange land, and they shall enslave. The seventh generation would be the time that we in right now, about 7,000 years, basically 400 years after the fact. And guess what? They shall enslave them and evil entreat them, as it were an hour of the age of ungodliness, but the nation whom they serve I will judge. That's why he said, I am coming to revisit the children of the fathers that hated me, of the third and fourth generation. That's what he meant. Now I'm about to peace out of here. New Jerusalem Blue. Yahweh, Bahashem, Adonai, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. I pray that you bless my soul. I pray that you bless all those who is watching this. I pray that you bring them confirmation. I gird up my power and girdles in righteousness and truth in the power of the Most High. Anchor, Amakor, Amides, Theodonas, Anator. Let be mighty my power. Let it endure forever in the name of Adonai, whom the praise and the glory shall be, whose end cannot be.